Yeah, there was a real focus on recruiting from the coaching staff. Not a lot of practice for our guys. Really tried to get them to focus on the last week of school before fall break. So it was really an academic week as well as time for them to rest, recover, lift. Just try to make sure we're at our best physically for the last two games. And then we also took an opportunity to work the young guys, work the redshirt freshman kids that aren't really playing right now. Take it like a bowl week of prep and try to move the team along for the future. So with that, now our attention is fully on a tremendous Cincinnati team, a dynamic offense, a really experienced physical defense, and a great coach in Coach Tuberville. So we look forward to hosting them on Saturday and hope that we can play well and play up to the level that they've been playing at.
We'll take questions for Coach Matt Rhule, please. Star 1 on your telephone to join the queue, then the operator will introduce you.
We'll take our first question from John DeCarlo with AlScoop.com.
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Huh?
You guys were able to beat a really high-powered offense before with East Carolina. You're obviously going to be facing, one of the best ones, if not the best in the league now. How do you do it again, and are there any similarities between what ECU does and what Cincinnati does?
Well, first I'll say Cincinnati's, they're outstanding. I really believe it starts with their offensive line, and they are really talented, but they're as well coached. I don't even know who the offensive line coach is, but he's really good. I mean, they're a really well coached, talented offensive line that gives Gunnar Kiel and Munchie a tremendous amount of time. They have dynamic receivers on the outside. I think it's 8 or 9 posts that they've hit this year from to the field to Chris Moore and guys of the like. So they're extremely dynamic in the passing game, John. They have a great offensive line, and then they run the football. I mean, they're physical, and the quarterbacks will run it as well. So you take all that with their tempo, it's what they do. So it looks a little different maybe than some of the other offenses I know at the time. I think East Carolina was the best offense in the league, and then I think when we played Memphis, I think they were leading the league in scoring and rushing offense, and now it's another tremendous offense. So really our focus has to be just to try to limit them, as best we can, and then don't just give points away on offense. If we don't turn the football over, it'll help our defense in terms of trying to at least slow down this Bearcat attack.
You said last week, I think a couple times when we talked, that you wanted to use the bye week, obviously to recruit, but you also wanted to kind of get the team's confidence back up and kind of just let some air out of the balloon and say, hey, we're going to be okay. What's the team's mentality right now? I mean, do they seem like they've kind of moved on from the Penn State game and they know what's before them?
Yeah, and you have to forgive me. I don't know that maybe I did. I don't know that I said that just give them a chance to regroup and get their me it's been more physical. I mean, I think they've we've played physical, we played hard. That Penn State game, that's a 7-point game in the fourth quarter, which 2 pick sixes really. Our defense hung in there all day. So I think our biggest issue right now is just physically. Physically on the offensive line being healthy. Defensively, they're gonna muster themselves. So that's been really my focus. I think their mindset has been good. I mean, for everyone except for the kids that were here the year we went to the New Mexico Bowl, this is the most wins they've had in the season. So they're at least making progress. So I don't sense any panic on their part. I just think they need to, John. I think they need to just get their bodies back together and go play 2 games as hard as they can, as physical as they can. Flying around with the best guys on the field that we can get on the field. So. That to me this week has been really more about their bodies and physically. I think their mindset's been pretty good, man. They've kind of embraced everything.
Do you think the guys on offense see the challenge before them? Because you've talked pretty openly about a lot of people are going to pick apart PJ's decisions and the interceptions, but you've also talked about the fact that other guys need to really go up and get the ball and make a play for him. And Jalen's done that, but really not too many other guys have. Do you see any sense of urgency from the other receivers or other guys on the offense where they say, me doing that could be the difference between whether or not we go to a bowl game?
Yeah, I think they have that sense of urgency. I mean, it just comes down to whether it shows up on Saturday or not. You know what I mean? I mean, if we just don't drop the football, we have a chance to score a lot more points than we're scoring right now. If we don't get penalties, because and that might sound like a little thing, but we've got a lot of pre-snap false start penalties that we weren't having earlier in the year. And again, that falls on me. But when I look at why is that happening, I just think it's just a matter of, if I'm really confident and feel like I'm going to, kick the tail of the guy I'm going against, then, I hang in there. When I start, looking around for answers and I'm panicked because he's beat me up a little bit, so I start to maybe jump off sides or go a second early. So, I think they all want to do it. They're great kids. They have to step up and do it. And as soon as they make a couple plays again, I think that they'll feel confident. Memphis is going to probably end up, it looks like, win the league. I don't know how that works out, or at least finish second. And we're one play away from beating them. So we just have to go make that play, and I know they want to do it.
One last quick question for you. You were here when the team went to, well, you were around the program when they went to 2 bowl games, and then you were around when you guys thought you were going to go and didn't. But you had 8, 9 wins around that time, and you had a little bit more wiggle room. Does anything feel different about this time, where it's really kind of nip and tuck here in these last 2 weeks? Because you've said, like, hey, it's okay to think about a bowl because next win we get will make us bowl eligible. Does anything feel different about that piece of things this time around?
Well, yeah, I think it's more in our hands. We were 8-4, but because of the level of competition we were at, we didn't get to go. So that's why it's one thing about coming to a strong, powerful conference like the American Conference with so many good teams. If you get to 6 wins, you're going to a bowl because of the amount of tie-ins and that Mike Oresco and his staff have put together. So really, it's in your hands. Whereas before, it was still nip and tuck down to the 8th, 9th win, right? Because we were at 8 wins the one year and didn't go. We were at 8 wins the second year and did go. So it's just more within our control whether or not we can go play well and pull a W out.
Gotcha. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Our next question comes from Dan Tortora with Dan Tortora Broadcast Media.
Hi, Coach. How you doing today?
How are you?
Good. Doing well. Just looking on the season and what you're trying to build in Temple and how you're trying to grow this team and, like you said, get back to the way that Temple has been in the past. What can you say about what you've learned the most from this experience and what you've been able to take away from this team this year?
Well, I think that they're, a resilient, tough group. I've appreciated that about them. I think the way that we've played defense and special teams has helped us. And knowing that there's only one senior in those 2 groups, I feel good about where we're headed. We can certainly play a lot better on defense. We can certainly play a lot better on special teams. And had we done that in a couple games, we might have a win or 2 more. And then really we just have to improve our offense, and make a few more plays on offense, and I think we'll have something, pretty good here. So, but it's a good group. I think they're definitely headed in the right direction. They've done what we've asked. They've hung in there with us, and I really enjoy coaching them.
When you look at the effort that this team has made, like you said, not having a lot of veterans in certain areas, what can you say about some of the young guys that have really stepped up for you and some of those guys that have stuck out to you that you're going to have in the future that you really were able to maybe lean on at times this season?
Well, I think, in terms of young guys, in terms of the true freshmen, Sean Chandler to me, I'm sure there's lots of great freshmen in the league, but, to have a corner come in and, go out there and just play man to man. We're not a very zone-oriented team here. Even when we play zone, we're playing man, and for him to play man against all these teams and play really, really good football. I think he has been outstanding, and really repairing that from a year ago. And, there's lots of other guys as well, but, he's one that for me on defense is being the only freshman that's starting for us on defense that really sticks out. And then, we're playing a bunch of, redshirt freshmen and redshirt sophomores on offense, and especially on the offensive line. I look forward to guys like Deion Dawkins, who's a sophomore, and those guys just to keep improving and keep getting better as they get older, So, but I'm pleased with that young group, and to be quite honest with you, and it's not really, probably doesn't sound great in a press conference, but I'm really excited about the group that we redshirted. We're trying to build for the future, Dan, and I think there's a really, really good group of kids here that probably would be helping us now. And, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night saying maybe I should have played a couple of them, but I think in the long run they're going to be a really talented group.
I appreciate that, Matt. Thank you.
Pardon.
And our next question comes from Jeff Nieberg with Philadelphia Daily News.
Hey, Matt. You mentioned last week that John Pretlow and Kenny Harper came back on crutches. I just want to know what the status of those 2 guys were heading into this week.
Yeah, we're gonna practice this afternoon, and both guys are really would be listed as questionable right now, and I'd have a much better feel after today, in terms of where they are. I know Kenny was in the walking boot all week last week, but it's like we do a lot of that preventatively as well. So I would guess that Kenny would play, just knowing Kenny. Kenny would play, would play no matter what. That's the doctors that have to pull him out because that's kind of who he is. And Brett, I just don't know with a hamstring how close he is, but I would say they're both questionable, and then I'd have a better feel maybe by tomorrow.
And you talked about last week, just and a little bit today, about how just important it was just getting the week of school over and having the bye week come at kind of a really good time. And now this week you're obviously focusing on a really good football team. How unique is it that school's on break and it's kind of just these kids can just focus on just football practice and the week coming up?
Yeah, I mean, it's good and it's bad. There's a couple kids that are, probably from Florida or Mississippi that are, sitting here saying, boy, I really was kind of wanting to go home and, go see my family, So it takes some maturity, to understand what we're trying to get done. But, I do agree. I mean, just, not being able to really concentrate just on football for a week, I think is great. And hopefully we can recreate sort of, some of the focused, nature that you have during training camp, during this week. So, but I think at the end of the day, it's still football. We've got to go play. So I think it'll be a good time for us to, really focus in on a really good team, and and then also at the same time, last week allowed us to focus on, making sure we finish the semester the right way.
Thanks, Matt.
Time for one more for Coach Rule, please.
Our next question comes from Zach Gelb with WHIP.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
What's up, Zach?
Hey, just real quickly, I know that offensive line, you guys have been rotating a lot of guys in and out this year. Brian Carter played a few games at right guard, and you see McGowan move around spots. Just where's the health of that offensive line right now?
McGowan's probably, probably if we had our druthers, he'd probably sit. He's had a pretty bad shoulder that's hard for him to play with, but he's done it. He's fought through it. Shabazz has been out the last 3 games. So you'd like to have those 2 guys be your starters if they're healthy. I don't know which one can go this week. So Carter, I think long-term, Zach, is going to be one heck of an offensive lineman. He's just, maybe 6 months behind, from being a starter. So, we'll see. We'll see if Shabazz can get through the week. If he can, that'd be great to have him back out there if he can play at a high level. And whether it's McGowan or Quinn, then hopefully they'll start the other side.
And just real quickly, when you take a look at that quarterback position, drops have hurt you guys in the last few weeks. How just in practice this week, really, what has been the tone between the quarterback and the wide receivers relationship?
They've been good. I think there's not a bad kid, out there saying like, well, it's not my fault. I think they're all kind of, saying, hey, I know what I need to get done. I just need to go do it, right? And so it's like anything else. Sometimes that feeds off of itself. You just need someone to go up there and make a play. And you watched the Giants game last night. Odell Beckham makes that catch, and then all of a sudden, Larry Donnell's making a catch, and Reuben Randall's making a catch. It's contagious, right? So I just think on offense we need somebody to break out, make a couple plays, let it be contagious, and more importantly, take the pressure off Fiji where he thinks he has to make a play, because when he tries to make a play, it doesn't work out for us. When he just runs our offense, then it's a little bit better. So, but I think they've all been good about it. They're all fighting through it together. They've stayed a team, which is all really what we're trying to get done.
Appreciate it, Matt. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you as well, Zach.
Coach, thank you so much for your time this week. Look forward to talking to you one more time next Monday.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck.
Okay.